Hello, everyone. Welcome to Court with Krissy. This is the craziest personal protection order hearing I've ever seen. Dual PPO violations. It's hard to tell who's telling the truth. Was it a throuple? Was it a love triangle? I don't know. But one thing I do know is I'm going to leave my comments out of it because you're going to be too busy reading Crazy Karen's lips. I hope you like it. Court with Krissy is now in session.
McDonald versus Jay Miller, case number 24-01357-PP, and Jay Miller versus Melissa McDonald, case number 23-08380-PP. And this hearing is being recorded on Zoom and live streamed on YouTube.
And this matter comes before the court this afternoon for a hearing on alleged violations of the court's protective orders. Both parties have a personal protective order against the other, and both allege violations at this time. So I'm going to have you both speak to me one at a time and see where we stand. The prosecutor's office did contact me in this matter. Normally, they do represent petitioners in alleged violations. However, because you both have separate and competing orders, they can't represent either of you. So you are both able to go out and hire attorneys if you wish, although I'll hear testimony today and make a decision insofar that I can. You're also free to go out and hire an attorney if you wish to represent you in this matter. So all that being said, I think Mr. McDonald filed the first violation here, or I'm sorry, Mr. Miller filed the first violation, the first alleged violation, the earlier one. So I'm going to start with you, Mr. Miller. If you would unmute and please raise your right hand. You're still muted, sir.
Unmute. Okay.
Very good. And if you would raise
Okay.
your right hand, do you solemnly swear or affirm that your testimony today will be the truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
All right. And I think the first thing I need to know, Mr. Miller, is have you been charged criminally with the incident that occurred back in July, the Miss McDonald's alleged violation?
On the PPO violation?
No, there's the incident where I have a police report in here that indicates that she was, you stopped by, took the dog. She was trying to get in the car to get the dog and was dragged along a ways and was injured. Have there been any charges that have come out of that?
No. They dismissed the charges because she didn't show up.
Okay. All right. So as far as you know, there's not a criminal case pending against you that would be harmed if I take testimony from you today.
Yeah, I don't think so. As far as I know, that case is the I had evidence, video evidence that I wasn't there. It happened in Grand Rapids. I live in Kent City. So it wasn't, I didn't have
Okay.
anything to do with that. So, but no, I mean, my attorney, I don't know. I never heard of this before, but it was some kind of jury, something or another that, we went, there was two different trial dates that she didn't show up to either one. So being that she didn't show up to either one, they dismissed it without prejudice or something like that.
Okay. Well, just so you know, what that means is when they dismiss without prejudice, they still could charge that case. So it's important that you understand that if you testify today, anything we make a record of is available to and could conceivably be used against the prosecutor in a future criminal prosecution against you. And for that reason, if you wish to delay today and request an attorney or, hire an attorney to represent you or request one at no charge if you want, you're able to do that. You understand that?
I guess what I don't understand is from what I was told is that it was over and she wasn't able to do such a thing because that's what was my main concern was at the hearing was like I didn't want to live with this over my head, potentially.
Sure. Well, the only
So
time that ends, if they are dismissed, as you said, without prejudice, that means they can charge it again. They're
or
not
maybe
bound
it's with
by what they
prejudice.
call.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah, no, and that would depend on how they did it. I don't have that criminal case in front of me, but I do know that obviously, whatever happens in these PPOs, they're civil matters. They don't become part of a criminal record, your full-time, long-term record. No one goes to prison if they violate a PPO. The most that can happen is 93 days in jail, whereas all of those things are potentially risks if you're in a criminal case. So I just want to make sure you feel fully advised about, what your rights and
Yeah,
liabilities are.
honestly, I guess I'm still confused about the whole thing because I'm actually pursuing false police report charges on that because it happened during the daytime. From what I understand, she knows what I look like. She knows who I am. I mean, if somebody beats you up in the middle of the daytime, especially
Yeah.
if you know the person. I mean, there's no mistaking who I am. I'm 6'4". I'm white. I got long blonde hair. I
All
there's
right.
no
Well, that's
mistaking
not
who.
going to be before me today, but I guess it
Right, I
sounds like
understand.
you feel
I
like that
understand.
being done. Do you want to pursue this alleged violation? And I think I have two of them here. I have the one where she took the dog, and I think that one was alleged to have occurred in the violation here.
That was that
Back in
was part of
February,
the
maybe?
PP. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Was that in February?
Yes, I believe so. It's hard to remember because she's taken the dogs a couple times, and that's why it was part of the PPO not to take any animals. And then, yes, I believe that was in February where she came back and grabbed one of the dogs, which was the oldest of the dogs that I've had the longest. So
Yeah, and I think you were in front of me on that, and uh, she didn't appear, and we reset it maybe a couple of times, and since then we have reset it for this date. Uh, I guess that's how we got here
right.
um, today. So that's still pending, and there aren't any changes, or you still want to proceed with that alleged violation where she came and took the dog back in February.
Correct.
Okay.
This is a ongoing crazy thing. It's just I just want to move on with my life. At this point.
Okay. And no additional violations. You did mention you got this concern about the false police report, but in terms of her coming to your place, no additional violations have occurred since then?
No.
All right. Okay. All right. And why don't you as you wrote the violation here, and I think you explained this to me, that at
I
one point or another she was living in the backyard um, of the place you're staying at, and she was evicted from that location, left, and then came back and got the dog. Is that the sequence of events?
basically yes.
Okay. And I mean, in the interreading time there were threats and things like that. Some related to the dog, some not, that caused you to get the PPO in the first place. And that was back, I granted the PPO, I want to say, right, August of 2023, it looks like. Is that right?
That was the original, because that was when she wouldn't leave, and that's during the eviction, and it all happened on the same day. Right. She was evicted for having drugs and drug paraphernalia on the property. So she only had a 24-hour notice and stuff. And then so I got the PPO the same day. The cops were here. She threw the papers down and walked away. And they thought that was, the cops are saying that was the end of that. And then I said, well, not according to her history, she will be back. And that was just a long ride of many police calls, many times her coming to the property. I kept on saying she's violating her PPO. They kept saying that, they get here, she's not here, whatever, and it was just for months going on, this whole past, ever since August. So, in February, she tried getting in my house came here with a U-Haul saying that she wasn't evicted properly or something. I don't know. And the only thing that saved me from her getting in my house at that time was having a PPO that was at that time extended because it was only for 6 months. And she got a PPO on me at that time, thinking that that was going to allow her into my house. She claims that I'm a renter. I own this house. I've lived here for 20 years. I bought the house in 2005. Like I said, she dated a roommate of mine a couple times, and that's how she got her things into this property.
Got it. And that address is up there in Kent City that you're staying at?
Correct.
Okay.
Been
All right.
here
And your
since 2005.
testimony today is that that's a property that you own. She lived there,
I
in
don't
fact, as a tenant for a while.
I don't consider her none of the above. I consider her a squatter. She dated somebody that lived with me that is now in prison, on drug charges, nothing to do with her, I guess. And anyways, the thing is that she came with a sick dog, which it happens to be the baby of the dog that she took. So we saved that dog's life, and then she ended up staying here for a few days because of the newborns. At that time, I was spending a lot of time with my girlfriend in Granville that was dying. She died June 1st of later that year of last year, and of this, yeah. So I mean, so I came back and grabbed the puppies and so forth, but she never lived here. She spent a couple of nights here like a girlfriend boyfriend would do at anybody's house. She put it upon herself to try to live here, is what I'm trying to get at.
I thought at one point she was staying in a trailer in the back or something.
That was kind of that's because I locked her out of the house because she wouldn't leave, and then she would sleep in the driveway in her car. She just wouldn't leave, I mean, and then I have a camper and an RV out back, and she just took up residency in there. And then I'd call the cops on that, and then she still wouldn't leave because what she did is she's done this quite a few times in her past. She's changed her address like 19 times in 4 years, and she's a homeless person that takes advantage of people kindness, and then she changes her address to your address, and then once she does that, she thinks she doesn't have to leave.
Right. Well, and right, depending on, kind of a lot of factors, may or may not have you right, residency, eviction
But
right, stuff like that.
I never let her live here.
I
That
see.
was
It was never
that
within
was
your permission. That's not really what's in front of the court.
right,
Now,
right.
the issue
But
is,
that's what the
yeah.
whole beef is about. Is she seems to think that. I mean, I got text saying she's going to take my house and this, that, and the other. I mean, this crazy stuff, and she stole a bunch of stuff from me, and it's just been crazy.
Who's got the dog now, Mr. Miller?
I actually do.
Okay. All right. And how'd you get it back?
I had a reward out for the dog,
Okay.
and somebody answered the reward, but they didn't want the money. And by the grace of God, by me getting the dog when I did, I got the dog back. It was sick. It needed emergency surgery, which was over $2,000. The vet didn't even give the dog 50-50 chance to live back then. It had an infection. And as soon as I got the dog, I knew something was wrong with it. It was lethargic, this wasn't looking good. And yeah, so I took it to the vet and I got vet papers, and all that good stuff.
And all along you said this is your dog and you put the chip in the dog and you have the dog registered in your name?
Correct.
Okay. All right. Well, and I can't really make any decision on the legal ownership of the dog. That's really a property law matter that's not proper for the PPO. My main thing is no one gets hurt and kind of this go back and forth that's been focused around this dog. So,
Yeah.
All right. Anything else you'd like to add, Mr. Miller?
Well, I mean, obviously, I still fear for my animal safety because I still feel like I'm threatened by word of mouth saying that she's going to get me back, this, that, and the other thing. I mean, it's like I'm dealing with somebody that just doesn't go away ever for no reason, like I said, I didn't even really know this person until I met her through my friend Craig. I don't know what else to do. I mean, I can't really, I'm looking into selling my house and moving because that's what the last guy that she got involved with had to do. Because she, for years and years, just won't ever go away. She's so vindictive that, she threatens to vandalize my property, steal my property. I don't have any contact with her, obviously, but, we have mutual people that we know. Just by chance and a crazy small world, she happens to live by people I know, or did live by people I know. So we kind of know some of the same people. But anyway, it's just, it's been going on since August of, it's been over a year, and I just don't feel comfortable in my own house. I can't even let my dogs out because the last time I did that, people ran out of the wood line and came up and took one,
And that's when
got,
the one that you came from me last time was taken that to the violation.
yes.
Okay. All right.
And the thing is she's got, she got, she got friends that live by up here, and so they drive by. And I had just recently I made a report that somebody tried taking my pit bull out of the front yard. They just drove in the yard and tried calling my dog, and it's just
was it someone connected with Miss McDonald? Do you know, or do you? I mean,
well, if I live on a 55-mile-an-hour road. People just don't stop to pick a dog out of somebody's yard. They drove by, turned around, came back, and as soon as I went out there, they took off.
Sure. Yeah, but I mean, you don't know if it was someone else interested in stealing your dog or if it was someone that Miss
No,
McDonald
I
sent
can't
there.
say that 100%, but I've lived here for 20 years. Like I said, I've had dogs the whole time. I've never had any of this kind of stuff happen prior.
Okay. All right. Well, let me hear from Miss McDonald next. I think I understand where you're coming from. Um, Miss McDonald, if you could unmute, I'll swear you in next. And I do see Miss McNabb here. Miss McNabb, do you have something you need to inform me of?
I do not, Your Honor, as long as you're aware that our office is not proceeding on these.
Yes, no, I did get that message and I'm taking a little bit of testimony. And my understanding is there aren't any current charges pending in either of these, so we're not going to mess up any criminal case. Am I correct on that?
As far as I'm aware, there's no current pending criminal charges based around these circumstances.
Very good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Right. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, Miss McDonald, if you'd please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that your testimony today will be the truth and nothing but the truth?
I solemnly swear that my testimony will be nothing but the truth.
Very good. Miss McDonald, you are alleging a violation, that was, I think, the subject of a police report. Is that still a violation that you're alleging? Is that Mr. McDonald himself came by and took this dog?
I'm alleging that everything that this man is doing and has put me through and still is till this day is nothing but lies. And I have proof and evidence to my waist high of all of his lies. I can prove every word he's saying is a lie. And I was hoping to be in court in person today. And I didn't realize it was a Zoom meeting up until today.
Yep,
Sorry
no,
about
I
that.
conduct these via Zoom under the Supreme Court has asked us to conduct the hearings, that are legally acceptable to have via Zoom on Zoom. Now, if we do continue today or we come back, you can request that it be in person in court. Well, and the main thing, that's before me on your claim here is this claim that Mr. Miller himself, essentially came to the place you were living in Grand Rapids and took this dog. Is that the
He did. Him, and according to what I'm hearing, is that he was with Cameron Bain, who was actually driving the car that ran me over, which was Jay Miller's car. He offered $500 I have testimonies that are notarized from all of the people that witnessed everything that Jay is saying is a lie.
well,
This
now, why
man is
didn't you
doing
press
all of this.
what
He is
happened to the
doing all
criminal
of
case, Miss McDonald,
the criminal case.
against Mr. Miller
I
for,
never got any. I called the police. I never got any response back. I never heard anything about it. I don't have a mailing address right now. Well, I do now, but I didn't at the time.
yeah, well, that's probably what happened there is, sounds like,
They said
the
it.
matter proceeded in the court, but if they can't contact you and you didn't show up, then it's very likely that they dismissed any criminal
Well, that's
case.
why I'm hiring an attorney. I had to sell my car so that I can do so.
Okay. Well, I think you're going to have to do that. And,
Yeah,
if you
most
want to
definitely.
pursue this, I guess,
He needs to go to jail. This man is totally criminal for someone that I took care of every day, gutted his house out, remodeled it, made it livable, did his yard, did everything for him. He never even got out of bed, and I had people that witnessed it. I was nothing but good to him. And then I caught him in bed with Craig Mason, the guy he's saying I was dating. And it was all just a vindictive hate. Everything he's done has just been hate crimes. And he should have been in jail a long time ago.
yeah,
And I
I'm
have,
afraid you're going to have to get an attorney and
oh, I
consult
know.
with the attorney to pursue it because, well, I mean, I guess what, I am going to have here is, your testimony that he did violate by, coming to your place and either him or someone working with him grabbing the dog.
He
Uh,
did more than grab the dog, Judge Rossi.
what else happened
He
during that?
pulled, I was pulled out of my car while I was sleeping. I came into town to get a vehicle, a truck. I was waiting because I was approved on getting a truck because he has all my work assets. He has everything I own, including all my dogs that I can prove that I've had since birth before I even knew Jay. He never even took care of his own animals. I took care of his animals every day. I took care of him. I served him 2 meals in bed a day. I did everything for this man. And then I heard him screaming, and I was in the shower, and I got out and I caught him and Craig Mason, his roommate, the guy that I bailed out of jail for $10,000.
Well, none of that's really, you know,
This is what this
particularly.
is all about. Him being jealous of me and Craig's relationship, our work relationship. And he did nothing. He did absolutely nothing except for try to, this past year, lay in bed and destroy my life and call the cops on me every day, saying I was in violation. I was hiding in Petoskey from this man because I'm terrified of what he's going to do to me, because I can prove everything he's done to me, and I can prove everything, all of his lies. I mean, there isn't a bit of truth in any word that comes out of his mouth.
Okay. Well, I mean, it sounds like, and I mean, like I say, there's going to be way too much here for me to
I
decide
had
the
a
context of the
I
protective
had a
order.
court date last October 9th, and I waited 45 minutes in the waiting room and was knocked off, only to be told when I called back that it was denied.
On this
Um,
same
on
protective
the
order,
fact
was it a different matter?
it was the same one, and it was I filed a motion immediately. Um,
Oh, to
on
object to his?
Yes,
Yeah, and
and the
yeah.
man that I had serve him the papers, he signed the papers, and as the guy was walking away, he attacked the man. Yeah,
Okay.
I feel like I've been being railroaded by the courts. I have evidence on everything, and it's all solid evidence that this man has told people that he was going to kill me and feed me to the hogs on his uncle's farm, pig farm. He
Well,
beat on me. He beat on me twice. For walking away from him when he was down talking me. He strangled me.
yeah, and
Yes.
I mean, none of that really is
And this
going to
man
be.
claims he's scared of me. I've been hiding in Petoskey in fear for my life that he's going to kill me so that I can't prove that he's a lawyer.
All right. Well, I think what I'm gonna have to do at this point is,
Wait.
what's your response to the idea that in February you went and grabbed that dog from him?
No, I didn't. I was there with the police to serve him with a PPO. The first one after I had filed 8 PPOs and heard nothing, and I started to file another one, and I stopped, and then it didn't. It went through, and I was really surprised that because I called the courts to ask them why my PPOs were being ignored because I was in fear for my life,
Were you
and
filing them here in Kent County or were you doing them up north?
I was filing them in Kent County out online.
Okay. This one that I got from you indicates it was filed February 9th of this year. So about the same period of time. So you're saying you were up there to serve the PPO or
With the
with the
police officers.
police officer. Did you take the dog at that time?
No, I didn't even see the dogs. I had Little Bit the whole time. I had her from the time that I was put off the property. And I wasn't given 24 hours. He had his dad go down and file the PPO. He never went to the hospital. Nobody ever harassed him. I took care of him and his property right up until the day I left. And he was trying to lie on me and have me take back a chopped up vehicle to the scrapyard so he could have me put in prison, because he's told people he's not going to stop until he has me put in prison or until I'm dead.
Well, it
And he
sounds
said he
like
has nothing
definitely.
but
Your
time
Honor,
to do this. And that's what he does. Every day of his awakening hours, he try to ruin my
Megan,
life and keep my dogs
Megan,
from me that I've had since birth.
I'll
And
give
I
you
have
another chance there, Mr. Miller, in just a second, but I
okay,
do let me
I'm
get
sorry. I
yeah, let
didn't
me
mean to interrupt. I'm
a
sorry.
chance to tell more lies because I can prove every word he says is a lie.
well, I mean,
And the truth is going to prevail.
Well, and I think that that's what we're going to have to do is, what I am going to do this time because I can't tell, who's telling me the truth in this
Oh, well, you will
situation.
once you see the evidence I have to, Judge Rossi, because
And
I
what
have
evidence
plenty of
would you
evidence.
present at this time?
Oh, I have a whole stack of it. That's why I was hoping to be in court today. I can bring it all down to you right now if you would like.
Well, right now you wouldn't find anyone in there because we're all working remotely, but we could do it at a future hearing. But I guess the only
I
stuff I
would love
could
to do
really
that.
look at would be stuff that proved that he was there at that address where you were, and but you said you didn't have the dog at all. So
Oh no, that he took the dog. He took the dog when I was pulled out of the car and
yeah.
backhanded and thrown to the ground in a dead sleep. And he took my dog that I've had for 9 years.
Do you
And
have
that is
evidence
not the,
related to that
yes, I do.
incident?
Yes, do I have evidence of it? The detectives were supposed to go to the neighbors and get the video recording of it.
Yeah, and
And
it sounds
they,
like they tried, but right, they weren't able to get video
they
that
didn't
was.
try very hard because
Well, it looked
they
like they checked and some people's cameras weren't working and there were a whole bunch of issues. So
I know
but
what
you,
Jay Miller drives. He drives a black Lincoln, and that's the car that ran me over and left me with a shattered ankle and every inch of my body road rash, and I had to have surgery on my right hand, and I was internally bleeding. Um, I mean, this man is gonna kill me, and if I end
well,
up
so I
dying,
mean, I'm
Jay
hearing two
Miller.
stories, and one is you're saying, boy, he's kind of bedridden and doesn't do anything, and then the other is,
Oh, he do, when he does everything from bed, but he pays people to do his dirty work. He's asked 3 people, offered them $500 to come and steal my dog back.
and what
Oh,
I guess your testimony is today is that one of them succeeded and got the dog back, and that's why the dog's back with him now.
yes, but he has the dog in hiding because he knows if he's found with her, that is going to relate him to me being ran over. There's no other way. Why? How would he have her?
Well, he just acknowledged that he has her now and that he got her back because
Exactly.
he
That's
offered this
why it's
reward.
great that he just hung himself even worse, just lying
All
right
right.
now.
Well,
Because
all
I
right.
can see
Well,
him
I'll
going.
hear from Mr.
He just
Miller
buried
once
himself.
more, and then I'll make a ruling. Although, I can tell you this is so factually different from what the both of you are saying and confusing that I think what I'm just going to have to do is probably deny both of these alleged violations at this time because I can't really.
I
Um,
want to know how he could, when he was calling every day saying I violated the PPO, saying I was on his property when I wasn't anywhere near his property. The only time I was on his property is with the police.
all right.
And he
Well,
sat and thought, and he violated his PPO right in front of the police. So at this point, I mean, the police have done nothing to protect me. They have done nothing to help me
and when
because
you say he violated in front of the police, you're talking about the incident.
when I went up there to serve him with the no, I went there, the cops told me the day I served him with the PPO that if I were to go get a U-Haul or get something to remove my trailer and my stuff off the property, that they would assist me. And then they had me wait at the corner, and he jumped in his car and drove over to right where I was at when I stayed where they told me to be. And he argued with the police, and I've got a video of it. I have videos of everything. I have videos of him. And there's a recording of him on the jail beating me up because Craig told him to, and he did it on the jail phone. And I'm going to have that pulled. That's why I am now
Yeah,
hiring
but
an
that
attorney.
sounds like that happened before these PPOs came into
What's
existence, right? Because Craig's been in prison, so he really hasn't been a factor at least for a while, right?
well, yeah, that was before the PPO.
Yeah.
I had no he didn't put the PPO on me until the day Craig was out of quarantine from prison. And what Jay was doing was opening up all my mail and all my letters and stealing from me and putting it all in his bedroom. And I found all my opened mail And then he also was opening my mail up that was being sent to the house afterwards and opened up some court mail and sent it back to the court opened by him.
Yeah,
Because
no,
it was
and
mailed to
I'm
his
unfortunately
address.
none of that's going to be
He
able to
has
come.
gone on Facebook because he stole my phone along with everything else that when he broke into my trailer. He stole my money that was to be paid to the guys that were working on this to make it livable for me, and they witnessed it. He called the police and when they let me go, and I called my friend, and he was there checking on me and telling me Jay was loading all my stuff into his trunk and putting it on the sides of the road, which his dad showed up after I got out of jail the very next day because they come back after he called 911 and was beating himself in the face with a flashlight with a witness, the woman at the gas station that brought me there when he was stealing my stuff to witness this. She called 911 and they told her, you're at a drug house, which
And
is nothing.
just
I
to go
knew.
back to the dog, Miss McDonald, you're saying that when you left in February, that was your
No,
dog,
I left in August, the end of August of last year. He's
and
had my dog,
you took the dog with you at that time, and that
the
was,
one that managed to escape the grandma, to my two dogs and her baby. I have 3 generations, and I've had these dogs every day with me. They're my dogs. They're my children. They're my life. And this man didn't even take care of his own animals.
well, I think he's saying the same thing. Now,
I
do you
don't
have
even
any
think
of the
they're
dogs
alive,
now,
Judge
Miss
Rossi,
McDonald?
to be honest with you.
Do you have any of
I,
them right now?
no, he has all of my
He
dogs.
has all the dogs. Okay.
Yes.
And I mean, do you have a house to live in now, Miss McDonald, or would they have to stay in the car with you?
No, I have a place now.
Okay. Well, I mean, that's going to be a civil matter. And I guess what I'm trying to avoid here in this case is, it seems to me that, and the dogs are a legitimate concern.
Yes, I
But
don't even hear them in the background when he's talking, which is, I don't
yeah,
think they're alive.
well, yeah.
And how would he have the grandma unless he ran me over?
Well, and
He just
I think he
testified
said
against
he
me.
offered the reward and got the dog. And the trouble is here is,
The $500 reward that he offered to people was to come and steal my dog. And I have people that wrote testimonies saying now he asked them to put drugs in my car and to steal my dog, and he was not going to stop until I got all his messages to
yeah.
other people printed out for you. I have proof and evidence of everything this man has done. I had people witness what I did for him. Um, Outsiders that didn't know him or me that
All
can
right.
witness and testify.
All right. Well, it sounds like way more than I can possibly take
Yeah.
in today's hearing. What I'm going to do is I'll get a response from Mr. Miller. I'll make a ruling today, based on what's in front of me here. And then if we need to set future hearings down the road, I think that's what we're going to have to do. So, Mr. Miller, I'll give you a brief chance to respond.
Okay, thank you. I don't even.
You're going
Okay.
to prison where you belong.
First things first is
Think about your life.
Okay, Mr. McDonald, it's his turn. Go ahead.
Okay. The day she accuses of this incident, the day after this, she got arrested for possession of CCW and meth possession and some other drug. If she was hurt that bad, I don't know why she was out on the street the very next day. Again, I'm not even really contesting that too much because it wasn't me. I have video cameras at my house that run 24/7, stating that I got home the night before, about 5 o'clock, and I didn't leave the house until I was arrested at 10:30 in the next morning. It's a video evidence that my car was not there. I have GPS on my car saying it never was in Grand Rapids. The vindictive part, I don't know. I didn't go to her house and claim to live there and start all this. She came to my house and did that. As far as Craig is concerned, it'd be nice if the court attorneys or whatever, because Craig can clear up a lot of the stuff that she's saying. On his, it always seems to be like she says Craig said this and I said Craig says that, and nobody gets to hear Craig's word because he's in prison. I think that would clear up a lot of things on both sides, I would imagine. But I don't think people should be speaking for other people, because it's just no way of proving who's telling the truth on that, unless you hear right straight from Craig, which I don't see why that would. I don't know why that hasn't happened at this point, but it just hasn't happened. And no detectives or anything have spoken to him as far as I know. But
Yeah, I
I
don't
speak
see
to Craig
anything by
pretty
him in the file here. So yeah,
right. And
that's just
I've
gonna have
mentioned
to,
that I'm sorry, go ahead.
that's just gonna have to wait another day
Yeah,
here.
but I've mentioned that to the detectives and so forth. And I just don't understand, because this is just going back and forth. I mean, all you got to do is look at her history. I don't have a history of all the domestic violence like she does. She's got multiple offenses. She's got, drug charges. She's got a lot of things going on that, I mean, she's just, I was listening to her and she's just, that's what she does. She just goes off on a tangent, making up like unbelievable stuff. There's no way I could have possibly been there because I got video proof that I sent to the prosecutor, and then I'm assuming the prosecutor got with her, and that's why she didn't show up, and that's why I'm filing I'm following through on the false accusations of these charges also. I don't like you said, this is just, I can't even, everything that she's saying is, I guess, I don't know, she wants to get me in trouble just out of vindictiveness because I couldn't let her stay here. But like I said, I got the dog back. All the dogs are chipped in my name, all three of them. I pay all the vet bills on them. None of them had any vet care. The baby of the dog uh obviously the baby is only a year and a half old and it's perfectly healthy. But the other dog that came here pregnant with her that we had to help her with, that dog was in bad health. So I spent a lot of money on that. When I got a little bit back, like I said, she's correct in saying that she had the dog when it was a baby, but she gave it to Craig and me 6 years ago, and that's when we had it chipped.
Right. Well, and like I said, I'm really in no position to decide who
Right.
the proper owner of the dog is. I mean, I do think, just for purposes of, what the court does in a situation like this is try to maintain the status quo. That is, the dog's in a place where they're being cared for, fed, taken to the vet if they need to. And then, down the road, a lawyer or a judge can issue an order regarding property, because as far as the law is concerned, a dog, like a car or trailer or whatever, is a piece of property, and someone does have ownership rights, and sometimes people share ownership rights, and courts have made an agreement where both people can have, shared custody type thing of the dog. I'm not in any position to do that, and the PPO doesn't
Right.
give me any ability to do that. What I am going to do at this time is I will deny both allegations of a violation because, as I said, hearing the testimony of the both of you today, it's impossible for me to, um, determine, well, one person is telling me the absolute truth and the other person isn't. What is clear to me is that the two of you, even though both of these PPOs on paper have expired as of August, you two should maintain now no contact with each other. And if there's any hint of threatening contact or attempt to reach the other person, because of the water that's gone under the bridge already, either of you could file for a PPO again, and if you think that's
Sir,
necessary, it's available. So,
sir.
yeah, go ahead, Mr. Miller.
You extended the PPO last time I was in front of you.
I did. How long did, let me take a look here. I did extend it. However, I think even the extended one at this point may have,
No, I have the paperwork here. It's you extended it for a year.
oh, okay. If I extend it for a year, then it's still, let's see here. I got one extension that went to 8/26/24. That is dated, back to 23/24, probably when we did that prior hearing. Did I extend it again?
Yes, just a second here. Hang on. Um, I have I just have to look at it.
Yeah. Oh, I see it. I see a PPO. Well, let's see here. Second extension. 1 year. Previous order. Oh, okay. All right.
Did you find it?
Well, yeah, I did. It's not in the normal format here. Lisa just included it in a different order that
Well,
results
this is
that. And that's new order to expire 8/26/2025. So yours is still in effect. Ms. McDonald's, yours has expired as of this August. However, if you do feel threatened, of course, and I certainly would encourage you to consult with a lawyer and see how it would fit in with the other things you're trying to accomplish legally. You're certainly able to request another protective order, but in the meantime, I think for both of your protection, the idea of just staying entirely separate, no communication whatsoever, phone, text, social media, or of course, going to each other's places is the safest way to kind of keep the peace going forward. I know neither of you are like perfectly happy with the situation as it stands currently, but I don't want anyone to get hurt. That's the main thing about these protective orders. We call them peace bonds. They just kind of hold the parties, in their respective locations until things can get resolved in a more thorough manner. And Ms. McDonald, it sounds like your plan is to hire a lawyer and do that. And I understand, Mr. Miller, you may be pursuing something regarding, to what you view as a false report. And like I say, I'm not able to make that determination as we sit here today. So what I'm going to do at this time is deny both violations and caution the parties, well, caution particularly you, Miss McDonald, absolutely no contact because Mr. Miller's order does remain in place. And if there is, any additional activity that concerns these, then Ms. McDonald, of course, you can file for another protective order or, follow up with additional legal action, or Mr. Miller, if you feel there's been a violation, of course, you can file that with the court. So, but
Oh, yeah, I
you-
do want to
go ahead.
put on record that since she was arrested for the drugs and stuff, she did not show up to court for that. So there's a warrant out for her arrest as we speak.
Yeah, that's not in
And
front of me now. And of course, if we were in court, it might be a different story where the deputies would be required to take her into custody. But since we're not, I will leave that to Miss McDonald to resolve. If there is indeed a warrant, that's up to her to take care of that piece of
okay,
business.
will do.
Very good. And with that, we are concluded.
All right.